Let's get started in Photoshop. So I have an image already open, but wanted to go over just opening files, saving files, closing files, and then just a little bit of a introduction to the interface, the tools and panels that we see. So to begin with, to open a file, we would go to File and New, or Control N is the shortcut there. So when I open a new file, what I'm doing is I'm making something brand new. So I have some options for how I want to set up this new document. I can choose to name this right away. If I don't know exactly what I want to name it, I can wait until I save it and then name it at that time. So there are presets here. I can also just choose to type in a specific dimension. So say I want a 5 by 5, there I go. I can click different units of measurement like I had said. If it's print, you're probably most familiar with inches. You may have heard of picas as well. Pixels is something that you would be dealing with for on-screen digital format. And then any others if you have something specific that you're looking at. The resolution is the pixels per inch. And so if it's going to be something that will be printed, absolutely do not go below 300 pixels per inch. If it's going to be something that will end up in a digital format on a mobile device or on a website, 72 is where you need to be for that. The color mode here, this gives me a choice, and mainly, again, thinking about my output, if it's going to be RGB, which is red, green, blue, that's an additive color model, that's for digital. That's for the digital world. CMYK is for print, cyan, magenta, yellow, K meaning key color, which almost always is black. I also have a grayscale, which would be 256 colors. It would be black and white and 254 shades of gray. Bitmap is only black and white. That's a 1 bit. See how it changes to 1 bit here? Very, very small. This is like early day internet where it was just, pixels were on or pixels were off. So very, very low quality. Lab color is something, it's luminosity and then 2 chromatic components. This would be something that potentially more in the photography you would be looking at, not the most common. So RGB and CMYK, probably 90%, that's where you're going to be. The background content, so this is when I make my new document, do I want it to have a solid white background? Or utilizing my background color that I have in my toolbar, or if I want it to be transparent. So I get to choose right away. Now all of these can be changed. So if I mistakenly choose something at this point, I can always go back and change that. Okay, and then there's some advanced pieces here dealing with color profile that's saved with my graphic. So if I click OK right now, there is my new document. And if you do this and you've not used Photoshop too much, probably what's going to happen is you're going to get it tabbed, just like this. So you have 2 tabbed views of multiple files if you have multiple files open. And I'm going to show you that here in a minute. Okay, so that was File and New. File and Open. Okay, so this will allow me to navigate to a specific folder and then choose a specific image to open. And you can see I have a couple of TIFFs in this folder and I have a JPEG. So I'm going to open the TIFF file and open, and there it is. And again, yours may be tabbed because it's a preference. I'm going to get to that in a minute. Now if I chose File and Save, actually, I haven't done anything to this file yet, so save is grayed out, meaning that it's not available at the moment because, like I said, I didn't do anything to this file yet. Save, though, will just save right over top of whatever that file is. You have to be cautious. I always tell people, save your original and then work off of a copy. You just never know when you may have to go back to that original. Now, Save As allows me to change my name and save it as a different type, and also change my location where I want to save it. So you have a lot more options there, and there's some other save options that, again, more advanced Photoshop. All right, so if I just click save, it's going to give me, are you sure you want to replace it? Sure, I'll say yes. And then it gives me, because I'm dealing with a TIFF, it gives me some options. If I were saving this as a JPEG, also would give me some options for compression. That's pretty much what this is telling me as well. TIFF utilizes an LZW compression, here it is, which is a lossless, meaning I'm not losing quality. I can choose to not compress this, or I can go into the JPEG, which gives me a little warning, but that's going to, allow me to change my quality, and I'm going to lose quality. So I'm just going to choose none because I'm not too concerned at this point with my file size. That's mainly the reason why I'd be looking at compressing it. And I'll just click OK, and there we go. Okay, so that's file and save, or file and save as. Closing, if I click my little X right here, I close this document. Okay, so if I navigate by the tab view here to the one I just made, click X, that document now is closed. I can also, with the active document, go to File and Close, or Control W, that's a nice one to remember. That will close the current document, the document that's visible on top at the moment. If I click my X over here, let me navigate up in the top, that is going to close Photoshop. That's going to exit. So that's more of what we would say exit. And at the bottom here, Control Q, I always think quit. Control Q, Q for quit, is exit. So that's going to close Photoshop. Now, if you have something open, it may ask you, do you want to save it if you've made changes and not saved it yet? I wouldn't rely on that. So be cautious just by going and closing it all out. You want to make sure you've saved all your files first.